The alarm screamed through every corridor of the luminous dawn. Captain Velthar's 4 eyes darted across the control panel as red lights flashed in sequence. His translucent skin turned a pale shade of blue, the Velthian color of fear. "Engine core is failing," chirped Engineer Pixel from the lower deck. Her voice was high and panicked. "We have maybe 10 minutes before complete shutdown." Velthar pressed his thin fingers against the communication console. This was bad, very bad. They were in the outer rim, far from any major Velthian colonies. The nearest friendly station was 3 days away at full speed, and they didn't have full speed anymore. They barely had any speed at all. "Send the distress signal," Velthar ordered. "Broadcast on all concordant channels. Someone will hear us." The ship shuddered. Lights flickered. The Velthians, all 12 of them, moved quickly through the corridors. They were a small species, barely reaching 4 feet in height. Their homeworld had low gravity and gentle weather. Everything about them was delicate, from their bones to their culture. They were traders and artists, not warriors. The distress signal went out into the void of space. It carried a simple message. "Trading vessel in need of immediate assistance. Engines dead, life support failing. Please help." 10 minutes passed, then 20. The backup systems kept them alive, but barely. The temperature was dropping. Velthar wrapped his thin arms around himself and waited. "Captain," called out Navigator Tillix from his station, "I'm detecting ships approaching." Velthar felt a wave of relief. "Velthian!" "No, sir." Tillix's voice was strange. Quiet. "The signatures don't match anything in our database." "Centauran Concordat, then? Our allies?" "No, Captain. These ships—" Tillix paused. His skin turned the same pale blue as Velthar's. "These ships are heavily armed, military-grade weapons, reinforced hulls. The design is aggressive." Velthar moved to the navigation console. He looked at the scanner readings and felt his heart sink. 3 ships were approaching fast, very fast. Their hulls were thick and angular, built to take damage. Their weapon arrays were massive, far larger than anything needed for simple defense. "Run identification scan," Velthar ordered, though his voice shook. The computer processed the data. Then a single word appeared on the screen: human. Every Velthian on the bridge froze. Pixel dropped the tool she was holding. Tillix backed away from his console as if the screen itself might hurt him. "Deathworlders," someone whispered. Velthar had heard the stories. Every species in the galaxy had heard the stories. Humans came from Earth, a planet so violent and dangerous that it had tried to kill them for millions of years. Extreme weather, predatory animals, diseases, natural disasters. The planet was a nightmare, and somehow humans had survived it all. They were strong, incredibly strong. Their gravity was 3 times what Velthians could tolerate. They ate dead animals and poisonous plants. They could run for hours without stopping. They healed from injuries that would kill other species, and they had spent their entire history fighting wars against each other. The Galactic Concordat had a simple protocol for human contact: avoid if possible. If not possible, be extremely careful. Do not provoke. Do not threaten. Humans were unpredictable and dangerous. "What do we do?" asked Pixel. She was shaking. Velthar didn't know. The human ships were close now. Trying to run was pointless, even if their engines worked. Hiding was impossible. Fighting was suicide. "Open a channel," Velthar said. His voice was steadier than he felt. "Maybe they'll just pass us by." But the human ships didn't pass. The largest one, a frigate with enough weapons to destroy a small moon, moved directly toward them. Velthar watched on the screen as the ship grew larger and larger. He could see the name painted on its hull in human writing: Indomitable. The communication console beeped, an incoming message. Velthar pressed the button with a trembling hand. A voice came through the speakers. It was deep and rough. translated from the human language into Velthian by their computer. Unknown vessel. This is Commander Jiho of the Human Defense Force ship Indomitable. We received your distress call. Are you in need of assistance? The Velthians looked at each other. Was this a trick? Humans didn't help other species. They were warriors from a death world. Everyone knew that. Captain, prompted Tilix quietly. Velthar made his decision. They had no choice. If they refused help, they would die here in the empty space between stars. This is Captain Velthar of the trading vessel, Luminous Dawn, he said into the microphone. Our engines have failed. Life support is minimal. We need help. There was a pause. Then the human voice came back. Understood, Captain. We're moving into docking position. Our engineering team will assess the damage. Medical personnel are standing by if anyone is injured. Sit tight. We'll get you out of this. The channel closed. Velthar stared at the console. The human ship was moving closer. He could see it through the viewport now, massive and intimidating. It looked like it was built for war, not rescue. They're going to dock with us, Pixel said. Her voice was barely a whisper. They're going to come aboard. Seal all interior doors except for the main airlock, Velthar ordered. Everyone not essential to the bridge, go to the cargo bay. Stay together. Do not confront them. Do not make aggressive moves. The crew scattered. Within minutes, only Velthar, Tilix, and Pixel remained on the bridge. They watched as the human ship connected to their airlock. They heard the heavy thud of the docking clamps engaging. They heard the hiss of pressure equalizing. Sir, said Tilix quietly, in our database it says humans are predators. Their eyes face forward for hunting. They have teeth designed for tearing meat. Their strength can break our bones by accident. Velthar knew all this. He had read the same files. Humans were dangerous. But they had answered the distress call. They had come to help. Maybe. We'll be respectful, Velthar said. We'll be calm. We'll follow their instructions. And maybe we'll survive this. Through the ship's internal cameras, Velthar watched the airlock. It was opening from the human side. He saw movement in the doorway. Something large, something moving with the confident grace of a predator. The humans were coming aboard. Velthar said a quiet prayer to the star spirits of his home world. He hoped they were listening. He hoped the stories about humans were wrong. But deep down, he knew they probably weren't. The first thing Velthar noticed was the size. The human who stepped through the airlock was enormous, easily twice the height of any Velthian. He wore a dark blue uniform with various patches and symbols. His face was covered by a helmet with a transparent front, and through it, Velthar could see two eyes, forward-facing eyes. Predator eyes. The human moved with careful steps, as if aware that his mere presence was threatening. Behind him came two more humans, both carrying equipment cases. One was female, Velthar thought, based on the body shape. The other was male and thinner than the first, but still huge compared to Velthians. The first human reached up and removed his helmet. Velthar flinched, expecting something monstrous. Instead, he saw a face that was surprisingly normal. Brown skin, dark hair, a strong jaw. The human smiled, showing flat teeth in front and only a few pointed ones on the sides. Captain Velthar? The human asked. His voice was deep but not aggressive. I'm Commander Jiho. This is Medical Officer Hana and Engineering Specialist Doyun. We're here to help. Velthar tried to speak, but his voice caught. He cleared his throat and tried again. Commander, thank you for responding to our signal. We did not expect... You didn't expect humans, Jiho finished for him. There was no anger in his voice, just understanding. We get that a lot. May we assess the situation? Time is important with life support issues. Yes, of course, Velthar said quickly. He gestured toward the engine room. Pixel can show your engineer the problem. Pixel looked terrified, but she nodded. The human called Doyun smiled at her, a gentle expression. He was carrying a large toolbox that would have required 3 Velthians to lift, but he handled it like it weighed nothing. "Lead the way," Doyun said softly. "I promise I'll be careful not to break anything." Pixel led him away, glancing back nervously every few steps. Doyun followed, moving slowly and keeping distance between them. He was trying not to scare her, Velthar realized. The massive human was trying to be gentle. Meanwhile, Hana approached Velthar. She was shorter than Jiho, but still towering. She had kind eyes and moved with smooth, practiced motions. "Captain, are you or any of your crew injured?" she asked. "No injuries," Velthar replied. "Just cold and scared." Hana tilted her head. "Scared of us?" Velthar saw no point in lying. "Yes, you are Deathworlders. We have heard stories." To his surprise, Hana laughed. It was a warm sound, not mocking. "Ah, the stories. Let me guess. We're violent, aggressive, we eat anything, we fight constantly?" "Yes," Velthar admitted. "Well, some of that is true," Hana said, crouching down to be closer to Velthar's height. The gesture was clearly meant to be less threatening. "We did evolve on a tough planet, but we also evolved to help each other survive. Humans are social creatures, Captain. We form bonds with others. We protect those who need protection. That includes you." Jiho was examining the bridge systems. "Your backup power is at 15%, he said. "Doyun will need at least 2 hours to assess the engine damage. Can you make it that long?" "Barely," Tillix answered from his station. The navigator was trying to appear calm, but his skin color betrayed his fear. "Then we'll transfer you to the Indomitable," Jiho decided. "We have plenty of room and proper life support. Once Doyun figures out what's wrong, we'll either fix your ship or tow it to the nearest station. Either way, you'll be safe." "Transfer to your ship?" Velthar repeated. The thought of going aboard a human warship made his stomach twist. Hana stood up. "Captain, I understand this is frightening, but your current ship is dying. Our ship has heat, oxygen, food, and medical facilities. We have guest quarters that we can adjust for your environmental needs. You'll be much more comfortable there." Velthar looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for his decision. He was their captain, their leader. He had to be brave even when he felt anything but. "Very well," Velthar said. "We will accept your offer." Within an hour, all 12 Velthians had been moved to the Indomitable. Walking through the airlock felt like entering the den of a sleeping monster. The human ship was huge inside, with tall corridors and heavy doors. Everything was built to withstand damage. The walls were thick metal. The air smelled strange, like chemicals and something else Velthar couldn't identify. Humans moved through the corridors around them. So many humans. They were all giants, and they all stopped to stare at the Velthians with curiosity. Some smiled, some waved. One young human female gasped and said something about them being cute, which Velthar found confusing. Jiho led them to a section of crew quarters that had been hastily adjusted. "We've lowered the gravity in this section to 0.4 standard," he explained. "That should be closer to what you're used to. Temperature is set to what our database says Velthians prefer. If anything needs adjustment, just let us know." The quarters were spacious and clean. There were beds, though they were too large. There were bathrooms, though the fixtures were comically oversized, but it was warm and safe, and the air was clean. "Rest here," Jiho said. "Hana will bring you food shortly. Our database has Velthian dietary requirements, so we'll make sure nothing is toxic to you. Doyun is working on your ship. I'll update you as soon as we know more." After the humans left, the Velthians gathered in one room. They spoke in hushed voices. "They seem kind," Pixel said carefully. "They could be pretending," argued Tillix, "to lower our guard." Why would they need to pretend? Countered another crew member named Lixon. They're strong enough to do whatever they want. If they wanted to hurt us, they wouldn't need tricks. Velthar agreed with Lixon, though he didn't say so out loud. The humans had been nothing but helpful. They had adjusted their ship for Velthian comfort. They had moved carefully to avoid frightening anyone. They had smiled and been patient. Maybe the stories were wrong, or maybe they were incomplete. A few hours later, Hana returned with food. She carried a large tray loaded with various items. She set it down carefully and explained each dish. These are vegetables grown on our ship, she said, pointing. These are fruits we got from the last station. Everything has been checked against your dietary database. Nothing here should harm you. The Velthians ate cautiously at first, then with more confidence. The food was good. Strange, but good. Hana sat down nearby, moving slowly. May I ask you something, Captain? Yes, Velthar said. Why are you so afraid of us? I mean, I understand the reputation, but has a human ever actually hurt a Velthian? Velthar thought about it. No, he admitted. Not that I know of. We hear stories. Your planet tried to kill you. You fought wars. You are strong and dangerous. Hana nodded slowly. Earth was hard, she agreed, but it taught us to value life. When you know how easily someone can die, you protect them more fiercely. Yes, we can be dangerous, but only to those who threaten innocent people. She stood up to leave, then paused at the door. You're safe here, Captain. I promise you that. Every human on this ship would protect you with their lives if needed, because that's what we do. After she left, Velthar sat in silence. Around him, his crew was beginning to relax. The tension was slowly leaving their bodies. The fear was fading. Maybe, just maybe, they had been wrong about humans. Maybe Deathworlders weren't monsters at all. Day 2 aboard the Indomitable brought unexpected changes. Velthar woke to the sound of laughter in the corridor outside. He opened the door cautiously and found Pixel talking with Doyun, the human engineer. They were both smiling. Captain, Pixel called out when she saw him. Doyun was explaining how Earth engines work. It's fascinating. They use controlled explosions for thrust. Actual explosions. Doyun scratched his head, looking embarrassed. Yeah, we tend to solve problems with the most direct approach. Sometimes that means blowing things up in a controlled way. Your Velthian engines are much more elegant. They use gravitic pulses, very sophisticated. Can you fix ours? Velthar asked. I think so, Doyun replied. The main crystal array cracked. We don't have exact replacements, but I can modify some of our backup parts to work. It'll take another day, maybe 2, but your ship will fly again. Over breakfast, which the humans had carefully prepared to match Velthian dietary needs, more interactions occurred. A young human navigator named Yuna sat with the Velthians. She was curious and friendly, asking questions about their homeworld and culture. What's Velthara like? Yuna asked, her eyes bright with interest. Beautiful, Tillix answered. He was the first to truly relax around the humans. The sky is purple because our sun emits different wavelengths. We have floating gardens in the sky, held up by natural gas formations. The gravity is light, so everything moves like a dance. That sounds amazing, Yuna said. Earth is beautiful too, but in a different way. We have oceans that cover most of the planet, mountains that reach the clouds, forests with trees older than most civilizations. But Earth is dangerous, yes? Asked Lixon. We read that your weather can kill. Yuna nodded seriously. Oh yeah. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes. Winter in some places gets cold enough to freeze you in minutes. Summer in other places is hot enough to cook you. And that's not even mentioning the animals that want to eat you. The Velthians stared at her in horror. Yuna seemed to realize her mistake. But I mean, we adapted, she added quickly. We built shelters. We learned to predict the weather. We made tools. Humans are really good at adapting. It's kind of our thing. Later that day, Hana invited Velthar to the medical bay. She wanted to run some scans just to make sure the Velthians were healthy after their ordeal. Velthar agreed, though nervously. The medical bay was impressive. Advanced equipment lined the walls. Everything was clean and organized. Hana moved through it with practiced efficiency. "Hop up here," she said, patting an examination table that she had lowered to accommodate his height. Velthar climbed up. Hana ran a scanner over him, watching the readouts on a screen. "Your vital signs are good," she said. "A little stressed, which is understandable. But physically you're healthy." She paused. "Can I ask you something personal, Captain?" "Yes." "What do Velthians think will happen to them around humans? Like worst-case scenario in your minds?" Velthar considered the question. "We fear you will hurt us, not because you are cruel, but because you are so much stronger. A human could crush a Velthian by accident. Your food is poison to us. Your gravity would break our bones. Your world kills, so we think you might kill too." Hana sat down on a stool, bringing herself to his eye level. "That's fair," she said quietly. "But here's the thing about humans. Yes, we're strong. Yes, we come from a death world, but that taught us something important. We need each other to survive. No human ever survived alone on Earth. We formed families, communities, societies. We protected the weak. We shared resources. We helped each other." She smiled. "That instinct didn't go away when we reached space. We still form bonds. We still protect. And that extends to other species, too. When we see someone in trouble, we help. It's not weakness, it's strength." That evening, something unexpected happened. An alarm sounded in the Velthian quarters. Not a danger alarm, but a notification. Velthar rushed out to find Yuna in the corridor looking upset. "I'm so sorry," she was saying to Pixel. "I didn't know. I'm so sorry." "What happened?" Velthar demanded. "I shared my dinner with Pixel," Yuna explained, tears in her eyes. "Just a small piece. I thought it would be fine. But it had spices in it. Capsaicin. I didn't think. I'm such an idiot." Velthar looked at Pixel. She was sitting on the floor, her skin turning an orange color. That meant pain. "Capsaicin is toxic to us," Velthar said. His voice was harsher than he intended. "Humans eat it for pleasure, but it burns us from the inside." I know, Yuna said. She was crying now. "I called Hana, she's coming. Please, I didn't mean to hurt her." Hana arrived within minutes, moving fast. She had a medical kit and immediately began treating Pixel. She injected something that made the orange fade from Pixel's skin. She gave her water with a special additive. She monitored her vital signs carefully. "She'll be okay," Hana said after several tense minutes. "The dose was small. The treatment is working, but she needs rest." Yuna sat against the wall, her face in her hands. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry." To everyone's surprise, Pixel reached out and touched Yuna's arm. "You didn't know," she said weakly. "It was an accident. You were being kind. You were sharing food, which is a sign of friendship. But I hurt you. Not on purpose." Pixel managed a small smile. "And you called for help immediately. You stayed with me. That's what friends do." Hana stayed with Pixel all night. Velthar checked on them several times. Each time he found Hana awake, monitoring her patient, adjusting medications, ensuring everything was perfect. The human doctor never left. She never complained. She just cared. In the morning, Pixel was fully recovered. Yuna came by with a gift, a small plant in a pot. "It's from Earth," she explained. "It's called a succulent. It doesn't need much care, and it's completely non-toxic to Velthians. I checked 3 times. I thought maybe you'd like something to remember. Well, to remember that humans make mistakes. but we try to make them right. Pixel accepted the plant with genuine happiness. Thank you. I will keep it always. Later, Velthar found himself in the ship's common area. It had a large window looking out into space. Jiho was there, drinking something hot from a cup. Coffee, Jiho explained when he saw Velthar looking. It's made from ground beans. Mildly toxic, actually, but humans process it fine, one of those Deathworld adaptations. Velthar joined him at the window. Commander, I must apologize. For what? For judging your species before knowing you. We feared you. We believed the stories. But the stories are incomplete. Jiho sipped his coffee. The stories aren't wrong, exactly. Earth is deadly. We are strong. We have fought terrible wars. All of that is true. But it's not the complete picture. He set down his cup. We learned that strength without compassion is worthless. Power without purpose is destructive. Yes, we can be dangerous, but we choose every day to be kind instead. That choice matters. Your crew has been very kind to us, Velthar admitted. Because you needed help, Jiho said simply. That's enough reason. You don't have to earn our kindness. You don't have to be useful to us. You're living beings in trouble, and we have the ability to help. So we do. Through the window, Velthar could see the luminous dawn floating nearby, connected by cables to the human ship. Doyen and his team were working on it, visible as small figures in spacesuits. They were fixing a ship that wasn't theirs, helping people they'd never met before, expecting nothing in return. Deathworlders, Velthar said quietly. Yes, Jiho agreed. I think I understand now. You are dangerous, but you are also good. Both things are true. Jiho smiled. Now you're getting it, Captain. Now you're getting it. On the third day, everything changed. The repairs to the luminous dawn were almost complete. Doyen had worked miracles with parts that shouldn't have fit, but did anyway. The Velthians were preparing to transfer back to their own ship. Friendships had been formed. Fear had turned to respect. Then the alarms started screaming. Velthar was in his quarters when he heard it. The sound was different from before, more urgent. He rushed into the corridor and found crew members running. Human crew members, moving with purpose and speed. What's happening? Velthar called out. A human technician paused just long enough to answer. Pirates, 3 ships. Get to the safe room, now. Velthar's blood went cold. He gathered his crew quickly, following the technician's directions to a reinforced interior room. All 12 Velthians crowded inside. The door sealed with a heavy clunk. They could hear announcements over the ship's communication system. Jiho's voice, calm but commanding. All hands, battle stations. This is not a drill. Weapons hot, shields maximum. Prepare for engagement. Through a small window, Velthar could see a monitor showing the space outside. 3 large ships were approaching. They were ugly vessels, covered in mismatched armor plates and bristling with weapons. Pirates' ships. Kravik pirates, if Velthar had to guess. The Kravik were known across the galaxy as slavers and murderers. We're doomed, whispered Tillix. The Kravik are too strong, even for humans. Pixel was shaking. They'll take us, sell us, or worse. Velthar tried to think. The Indomitable was a military ship, but it was alone. 3 against 1. And the Kravik were famous for their brutality. On the monitor, he watched the Kravik ships spread out in attack formation. They were larger than the human ship. Their shields glowed with power. One of them transmitted a message that was broadcast through the ship's speakers. Human vessel, you are outgunned. Surrender and hand over the Velthians. Do this, and we will let you leave. Refuse, and we will destroy you. There was silence. Velthar held his breath. Would the humans surrender? It would be the smart choice. Why die for aliens they barely knew? Then Jiho's voice came back, and it was different. Colder. Harder. Kravik vessels, this is Commander Jiho. The beings aboard my ship are under human protection. Leave now or face the consequences. The Kravik captain laughed. It was an ugly sound. Foolish human, you are one ship. We are three. Your death world strength means nothing against our weapons. Last chance, surrender. Negative, Jiho replied. You have 5 seconds to jump away. After that, you're in our crosshairs. The Kravik captain stopped laughing. You dare threaten us? You will regret this. Human! What happened next occurred so fast that Velthar almost missed it. On the monitor, he saw the Indomitable suddenly accelerate. Not away from the pirates, but toward them. At a speed that should have been impossible for a ship that size. A human named Taiyang was at the weapons console. Velthar could hear him calling out targets. Target 1, weapons locked. Target 2, weapons locked. Target 3, weapons locked. Fire! Jiho commanded. The Indomitable fired. Not wild spray, but precise shots. The first volley hit the shields of all 3 Kravik ships simultaneously. The shields flared and buckled. The second volley came before the first had even fully dissipated. It punched through the weakened shields and hit hulls. One Kravik ship's engine exploded. It spun out of control, bleeding atmosphere. The second ship tried to return fire, but Yuna was flying the Indomitable like it was a fighter craft, not a frigate. She dodged and weaved through space, avoiding the incoming shots with impossible precision. How is she doing that? Breathed Pixel. Velthar understood. High gravity training. She grew up in 3 times the gravity we did. Her reflexes are faster. Her reactions sharper. She's not even trying hard. The third Kravik ship attempted to run. It turned away and started charging its jump drive. But Taiyang was faster. Another precise shot hit the ship's jump drive core. It detonated, not enough to destroy the ship, but enough to cripple it. The battle had lasted less than 3 minutes. 2 Kravik ships were disabled. The third, the flagship, was damaged but still functional. Its captain's voice came through again. But this time there was no laughter, only fear. We surrender! We surrender! Don't kill us! Power down your weapons, Jiho ordered. Open your external hatches. Any attempt to escape or attack will result in your immediate destruction. Am I understood? Yes, yes, understood! Velthar watched as human boarding teams suited up. They moved with military efficiency, carrying weapons and restraints. They crossed to the Kravik flagship and entered through the opened hatches. Within minutes, they had the pirate crew in custody. When it was over, when the danger had passed, Jiho's voice came over the speakers again. All clear. Stand down from battle stations. Medical teams to the Kravik vessels for wounded prisoners. All guests, you are safe. You can leave the safe room. The Velthians emerged slowly. The human crew was already returning to normal duties, as if a life-or-death battle was just another day's work. Velthar found Jiho on the bridge, speaking with his officers. Commander, Velthar said. His voice was shaking. Jiho turned. Captain, are you and your crew all right? We're fine, but you fought for us. You could have surrendered. The Kravik would have let you go, but you fought them instead. You risked your lives. Jiho looked confused. Of course we fought. You're under our protection. That means something to humans. But why? We're nothing to you. Just strangers you found in space. You're people who needed help, Jiho said simply. That makes you our responsibility. Humans don't abandon those under our care. Ever. Hana approached. She looked tired. We have wounded among the Kravik. I'm going to treat them. Would one of you like to come? See how humans handle defeated enemies? Velthar followed her to the medical bay. Several Kravik pirates were there under guard. They were large beings, covered in scales with multiple arms. They looked dangerous even in restraints, but Hana treated them gently, cleaning their wounds, setting broken bones, administering medicine. One of the Kravik looked at her with confusion. Why help us? We tried to kill you. Hana didn't look up from her work. Because you're injured and I'm a doctor. It's that simple. You'll stand trial for your crimes, but you won't suffer needlessly while in our custody. The Kravik didn't seem to understand. Humans are strange. You are warriors, but you heal enemies? We're human, Hana corrected. We can be warriors when we need to be. But we'd rather be healers. We'd rather build than destroy. We'd rather help than hurt. But if you threaten innocence, we'll stop you. That's the line. Later, Velthar stood with his crew in the common area. They watched as human engineers finished the repairs on the luminous dawn. They watched as the captured Kravik were transferred to holding cells. They watched as the Indomitable prepared to continue its journey. I was wrong about humans, Tillich said quietly. We all were. Yes, Velthar agreed. The stories said they were dangerous, and they are. But they're dangerous to those who prey on the weak. To everyone else, they're protectors. Pixel was still holding the plant Yuna had given her. Deathworlders, she said, but death to evil, not to innocence. Velthar nodded. That was it exactly. Humans were dangerous, yes. But their danger was controlled, directed, purposeful. They didn't hurt for pleasure. They hurt to protect. There was a difference, a big difference. I want to thank them, Velthar said, properly, before we leave. How? Asked Lixan. Velthar thought about it. Then he smiled. I have an idea. The luminous dawn was ready to fly again. Doyun had done more than just fix the broken parts. He had upgraded several systems, improved the efficiency, and added some emergency protocols that might save lives someday. He'd done it all without being asked, simply because he could. The Velthians gathered in the cargo bay for a final meeting with the human crew. Velthar had requested that everyone who could be spared from duty attend. Nearly 40 humans stood before them, these giants from a death world who had become friends. Velthar stepped forward. In his hands, he held a small crystal, glowing with soft purple light. It was precious to Velthians, a piece of their home world. Commander Jiho, crew of the Indomitable, Velthar began. His voice was steady now, no longer shaking with fear. When you answered our distress call, we were terrified. We had heard stories about humans, about Deathworlders, about warriors from a planet that tried to kill them. He paused, looking at each human face. They were listening carefully, respectfully. We thought you might hurt us, not from cruelty, but because you were so different, so strong, so dangerous. We were wrong. Yes, you are strong. Yes, you are dangerous, but you are also kind. You are also gentle. You are also good. Velthar held up the crystal. This is a Velthian heartstone. We give them only to those who have saved our lives. It represents trust, friendship, and eternal gratitude. We want you to have it, all of you, because all of you saved us, not just from our broken ship, but from the Kravik, from death or slavery or worse. Jiho stepped forward and accepted the crystal carefully. It looked tiny in his large hands. Captain Velthar, we are honored. Thank you. But we only did what was right. Anyone would have done the same. No, Velthar said firmly. Not anyone. The Kravik wouldn't have. Many species would have passed us by, not wanting to get involved. But you stopped. You helped. You risked everything for strangers. That is not common. That is special. Pixel came forward next. She was carrying something wrapped in cloth. Engineer Doyun, you worked day and night on our ship. You taught me things about engines I never knew. You were patient and kind. I made you this. She unwrapped the cloth to reveal a small sculpture made from spare ship parts. It showed a human and a Velthian standing side by side, looking up at stars together. Doyen accepted it with genuine emotion in his eyes. This is beautiful. Thank you. I'll treasure it always. One by one, the Velthians gave gifts to different humans. Small things mostly, but meaningful. A star chart to Yuna, a medical text to Hana, a collection of Velthian music to Taeyang. Each gift was accepted with gratitude and care. When the gift-giving was done, Hana spoke up. You know you're all welcome to visit Earth someday. We'd love to show you our world. Yes, it's dangerous compared to yours, but we have safe places, beautiful places. And I think you'd like to see where we came from. We would like that, Velthar said. Very much. A communication came through to Jiho's earpiece. He listened, then smiled. Captain, there's a transmission for you. From your government. Velthar went to the communication console. The face that appeared on the screen was Ambassador Shen, the highest-ranking Velthian diplomat in this sector. Captain Velthar, the ambassador said, we have been monitoring your situation. We are pleased you are safe. We are also very interested in the humans who rescued you. They are good people, Ambassador, Velthar said. Better than the stories suggest. We are beginning to understand that. Captain, when you return, we would like you to serve as a liaison between our species and the humans. We believe it is time for a formal alliance. The galaxy can be a dangerous place. Having friends like the humans would be valuable, but more than that, they seem to be the kind of friends worth having, not for what they can do for us, but for who they are. Velthar felt pride swell in his chest. I would be honored, Ambassador. The transmission ended. Velthar turned to Jiho. It seems our governments will be talking. About an alliance. About friendship. Jiho smiled. We'd like that. Humans are always looking for friends among the stars. We've been alone out here for a while. It would be nice to have neighbors we trust. As the Velthians prepared to board their ship, Yuna approached Pixel. Hey, so, I know we had that whole capsaicin incident, but, could we maybe stay in touch, like as friends? I promise to never feed you anything without checking it 17 times first. Pixel laughed. It was a sound like tiny bells. Yes, I would like to be friends. You can tell me about Earth, and I will tell you about Velthera. And maybe we can visit each other. I'd really like that, Yuna said. Doyen found Velthar near the airlock. Captain, I added my contact information to your ship's computer. If you ever have any technical problems, or even just questions about engineering, call me. Anytime. I mean it. Thank you, Doyen. You are a good person. Just a human, Doyen replied with a smile. Doing what humans do. Finally, it was time to leave. The Velthians stood at the airlock, looking back at the humans one last time. These giants who had seemed so frightening days ago now seemed like family. Safe travels, Jiho said. May the stars guide you home. And may they bring us together again, Velthar replied. The luminous dawn separated from the indomitable. The engines, now repaired and upgraded, hummed to life perfectly. Velthar sat in the captain's chair and looked at the human ship through the viewport. Set course for home, he ordered. As they began to move away, Tillich said quietly, Captain, I have a question. Yes? Why do humans help, really? They said it's because they have to, because that's what they do. But why? What made them that way? Velthar thought about everything he had learned. About Earth and its dangers, about human history and their wars, about their strength and their gentleness, about how they had survived a planet that wanted them dead. I think, Velthar said slowly, that Earth taught them that life is precious because it's fragile. They know how easily someone can die because they've seen death everywhere. So when they have the power to save a life, they do it. Not because they want something in return, but because they remember what it's like to need saving. That's beautiful, Pixel said softly. Yes, Velthar agreed. And terrifying. And wonderful. Just like humans themselves. 3 months later, Velthar stood in the Velthian Grand Assembly. He was wearing formal robes and speaking to the gathered leaders of his people. Behind him, a screen showed images from his time on the Indomitable. "We feared them," Velthar said. "We called them Deathworlders. We told stories of their violence and their danger, and those stories were true. Humans are dangerous." But we missed the most important part of the story. He changed the image to show Doyun working on the luminous dawn. They use their strength to build. They use their power to protect. They use their abilities to help. Yes, they can destroy. Yes, they can fight. But they choose not to unless they must. That choice, that daily decision to be kind instead of cruel, to help instead of harm, that is what makes them truly special. Another image appeared. The battle with the Kravik. When evil threatens, they stand against it. Without hesitation, without fear. They fight not because they enjoy it, but because someone must, and they have the ability to do so. They are warriors when needed, healers when possible, and friends always. The final image showed all the humans and Velthians together in the cargo bay, exchanging gifts. "I propose a formal alliance with humanity, not because we need their protection, though they would protect us, not because they are useful, though they are, but because they are good, because they are the kind of people we want beside us among the stars, because when we sent an SOS into the darkness expecting friends, we got something better. We got humans, and that made all the difference." The assembly voted. It was unanimous. The Velthian-Human Alliance was born. Far away on the Indomitable, Jiho received the news. He smiled and sent a message back. "Welcome, friends. Welcome to the future we'll build together." And in the vast darkness of space, two species from very different worlds began a friendship that would change the galaxy forever. Because sometimes the best answer to an SOS isn't the one you expect. Sometimes it's even better.